wanna fly high up to the sky. I'm living in the mountains. Everybody know the soil so fertile. If a man sit down naked, the seeds might grow. A delightful getaway from the hustle, bustle and tricks. Oh, what a natural fix if you don't like to mix with the politics. One issue I have to resolve. If I could sort it out, all problems solved. Every time I plant corn and it start to shoot, some idiot keep forking it out the root. Make country flowers in there, fork it up. Make country produce in there, fork it up. Country start to blossom. I don't know who or where they come from. Me blind neighbor say he saw a man resembling one of the politicians. I wasn't there, so I didn't see exactly who talking up me country. Riding on me donkey, transportation bliss. Me fireside bubbling a goodie. I hear rioting in the gas crisis. Surrounded by wild animals. What a vicious pack. But none of them does launch an attack. None of them poison us like invert and sap. The hunt always on, I could say that much. And true, can switch it off like crime watch. My mission now is to put a stop to whosoever fucking me country up. Some say a man named Eric, George, Robbie and Patrick. Some say Capildeo, Fadis, Kamla Basteo. Old man Bedu said they said nothing new. They fucking up long before 1962. If Butler was around, he might have tell we directly who fucking up me country.
Hey you all, good evening and welcome to the Rebuttal once again. As always, I am pleased to have you tuned into the program this evening. We're going to chit-chat for a little bit as we usually do. I still don't know how long I'm going to go this evening. As I get the feeling, I might go a little longer. Or we may cut off at the 1 hour mark. That's the shortest period of time you can guarantee that I'm going to talk to you on a Wednesday evening. How much longer? I don't know. It goes by how I feel. And, sometimes, you get the feeling that you might be boring the people you don't really want to just upset people by not telling them what they want to hear or things like that. And then you cut the show. It goes by how you feel. And I could sense when I am a bore. I could sense when I talk in nonsense. I could sense when I'm being good. And so if I'm good, I'm going longer. You know what I'm saying? I'm honest to myself. So if you're in St. Kitts and Nevis, I want to say a special good evening to you. If you're in the diaspora, I also want to say good evening to you. Those of you who are not in St. Kitts, I know it's probably going to take a lot of time out of your busy schedule just to get yourself situated to listen to the show. Some of you might just be coming in from work, and so it takes a lot of effort for you to listen in on the show. And so I'm appreciative. I'm glad that you have dedicated the time to listen to the rebuttal. And so I'm pleased that you are with us this evening. Last week, I spoke to you guys about persons in the public service, in the civil service, who have already attained the mandatory retirement age of 55 And those people would have entered the civil service before 2011. I said that these guys should retire and make way for persons coming into the system. I still believe that. So I don't want you to think what I said last week was a fluke. I may have upset some people because there are people that I know who are in the service beyond age 55, and they might take offense that I am saying that they should go home. But it is what I believe. And I don't only believe it because I've seen other persons go home when it's their time at 55. I'm saying it because I did it myself. I went home at age 48. And that was 10 years ago. I still had gum. And I left the civil service kind of early. You know the good thing about being a civil servant who have put in some years, and I didn't put in as many years as a lot of you, but those of you who've put in a lot of years, the beautiful thing about that is that by the time you're ready to leave, you're going to leave with a pretty decent package. I'm talking about somewhere in the region of maybe $130,000 to $200,000 in free money. Gratuity. That's what gratuity means. You're gonna leave with gratuity of somewhere in the region of 130 to 100 to maybe $200,000, and you're gonna get your pension instantly. Now, you want to tell me that you can leave at that point in time, knowing that by time you're 62, which is about 7 years later, you are going to get enough by way of Social Security, that is, if they mash it up, by way of Social Security, which when you add Social Security with your government pension, you are going to likely end up with more money than you used to make when you work full-time in the public service. And so, I mean, some of you might say, man, well, they want to stick around for a while. But for what? You're denying somebody promotion, and you're denying persons from coming into the workforce. Because as you move people around at the top, you're going to create opportunities at the bottom. These youngsters who are coming out of school should not sit idly by. They should rise up their voice. And they should make a hefty noise to tell these politicians, we are not accepting being out of work when there are jobs that we can and should get in the public service. If you would allow persons or require persons to retire when they should, why should a youngster stay home getting all kind of mischief when he should be working as a clerk in this office? And the reason that is happening is because some older person at the top who should go home refuses to do so. And so if I were the youth, I will not be quiet. You know, as I was thinking about this, something else came to mind, you know. There are a number of persons with degrees who are working in inferior jobs relative to their qualification, and by virtue of them being underpaid, they're working in these jobs. They're getting paid from step. It is unfortunate and it is not right. I say it is time to rectify those kinds of anomalies. Fix those kind of problems now. There are persons whose step is paying and the organization they are with is supplementing their wage, but it's never up to the level where it's supposed to be. I know a couple of those persons. And I'm saying you ought to rectify that right now. And one way to do that is to make way in the public service for these people. Retire those who need to be retired and clear the ground for persons just starting their careers. I personally believe that is it's fair to do. I mean, right now you have a situation where all these people who are laid off from Marriott, Hyatt, Park Hyatt, those who are to be laid off from Jaro, those who are to be laid off from Electrofab, there are a lot of people who are going to be laid off. And here is what I am saying. If the public service could take in some of them, it makes sense. Because it is not easy to have grown people with family who have for all their lives had a job and fed their family and looked out for themselves. It is not easy for them now to be out of work. Sure, the severance pay is going to help. And I'm telling you guys, when you get that severance, pinch it. Don't spend it wildly. Pinch it. Let it work for you over a period of time. Because nothing done faster than when you're spending money and none coming in. And so I just want you guys, I want what's best for you guys. I am not necessarily in your hardship situation, but I could empathize. I could empathize because I know persons who are, right? And I also can imagine what it is to be without work, all right? And so it has to be this interplay between you, the people, and the government, right? A lot of people, the argument has always been that when you're in a recession like the one we're in right now, the way to get out of it is to attack the recession, is to spend your way out of the recession. It's like in the military, when you're being ambushed, the best way to deal with an ambush is to attack the ambush. Well, it's the same way you deal with a recession. And government would have to borrow, if it must, to get out of a recession. The unfortunate thing is that none of us are sure, or none of us is sure how we stand at this point in time. I'm going to talk about that just after this teeny-weeny little break. We're going to chit-chat some more.
I love being in the latest style and dress fine, or should I say classy. That is why I shop at First Class next to the taxi stand at Port Sante for fine gold and silver jewelry in precious, semi-precious and colored stones, diamond and crystal watches, and the hottest handbags and wallets. And when I want to buy a gift for someone, that's easy too. I just ask them to make me a gift basket, and First Class has the best prices at Port Sante. So no matter what the occasion, come on into First Class and leave happy, knowing you've gotten the best deal for your money. It's First Class at Port Sante, where quality, low prices, and top-notch service are second to none.
Spread the word. New and exclusive every Sunday from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's the Gospel Cafe with Carl D. Springate on KYSS FM 102.5. Tune in and connect with the Holy Ghost Connection with live interviews, Christian news, what's hot and what's not in the now. Birthdays and anniversary shout-outs available, Bible Jeopardy, Beyond the Pulpit, and positive entertainment and ministry. Testimonies and the pastor's moment with Spread the Word. So tune in as we drop the latest gospel hits, 100% black. It's the Carl D. Springate Gospel Cafe, Sundays from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KYSSFMonline.com and 102.5 FM. And be blessed like that.
on fashion accessories for really low prices. Check silver and cents. Check silver and cents. Beauty supplies and weave, genuine fragrances. Check silver and cents. Check silver and cents. Handbags so beautiful, your friends will envy how you look. With perfume to smell just right, you'll feel like you're in paradise. Watches, silver jewelry, and hair accessories. Check silver and cents in the Amri Mall on Day Street.
Ready or not, hear my clothes, can't hide. Gonna find you and make you want me.
Ain't nobody tell me nothing. Can't tell me nothing.
I'm Shaniel Francis. Kyssfm 102.5 is proud to announce its brand new morning show, Backchat, the only place to hear the hottest music.
I'm local.
Check me area code, me area code. Anywhere me go, you know me touch
To international,
Ay, I go shopping, want it then I cop it. Ay, yeah, bitches popping, I do what they copy.
And have you informed with a range of topics.
so on Mondays to Fridays, tune in at 8 to 11.
You won't want to miss the vibes on
Backchat.
Ready or not, hear my clothes.
I wanna fly high up to the sky. I'm living in the mountains. Everybody knows the soil so fertile. If a man sit down naked, the seeds might grow. A delightful getaway from the hustle, bustle and tricks. Oh, what a natural fix if you don't like to mix with the politics. One is you I have to resolve. If I could sort it out, all problems solved. Every time I plant corn and it start to shoot, some idiot keep talking it out the root. Make country flowers in it, farm it up. Make country produce in it, farm it up. Country start to blossom. I don't know who or where they come from. Me blind neighbor say he saw a man resembling one of them politicians. I wasn't there, so I didn't see exactly who talking up me country.
Welcome back to the Rebuttal. I'm Douglas Wattley, your host. Now, a whole set of people are asking me, when are you coming home? Well, for those of you who were not informed, those of you who didn't know, I am not in St. Kitts. It's not by accident that you have not been seeing me. The fact is, I have not been in St. Kitts since January. I came out of St. Kitts to the US to do my annual medicals. And I had every intention to come back to St. Kitts and participate in the election. And next thing I know, I am locked out of St. Kitts. I can't get back in St. Kitts. COVID-19 plus the government plan to keep people out so that they wouldn't come home and vote. So I got locked out. So when people were saying, who out, stay out, and who in, stay in, I was one of the fellas they're talking to, I was one of the people they're talking to. And so I had been out now for what? About 9 months, somewhere there. The people asking me, boy, when you coming home? And my argument is, when they open the border. Okay, that sounds like a good answer. But it's more than that, It's when they open the border and I do not have to quarantine in no OTI or JACTA and pay nobody no money to quarantine. Or I am not intending to quarantine in my own place or in anybody's place and have to pay for nobody to watch me quarantine. I ain't paying for no security. So until them things they fix, nobody run me out America. Me all right. But at first it started off being facetious, They were being facetious, The lockdown of the country, the curfews, state of emergency, all those were orchestrated to help the government gain re-election. You with me? You could have done things less stressful, but that extreme, you did that in order to get a heads up and to get a leg up on the competition for election. May argue, may ain't got no problem, right? And like I said, nobody is chasing me out of the United States. Sure, I would like to come home. Sure, there are people I would like to see. But it got to be on my terms. On my terms, I don't mind quarantine, but I ain't paying for it. I'm not paying for it. So right now, the government is thinking about reopening its borders. The dates I'm hearing are somewhere around the end of October, early November. I'm hearing it's about just after the elections in the United States, about the 4th of November. So you are now trying desperately to get the airport prepared. Remember that the airlines had previously agreed to prepare the airport. You turned it down because you said you weren't ready to open the borders. Now you're thinking that you are ready to open the borders, and you now ask the Taiwanese for some money, and so you are now working 24/7 to get the airport prepared. Well, I hope all goes well, and I hope you get the kind of visitors to your shores that you're looking for, visitors that would make a difference in the economy. I noticed today that the COVID-19 task force has been talking about protocols for when the country opens, which means you're dead serious about opening the country very soon. But I'm telling you, the conditions under which I am coming home. And I'm telling you, the conditions under which I say I want to come home ain't much different from the conditions that a lot of other people are thinking about. And let me tell you something. If it's tourists you're looking for, the kind that would spend money, well, none of them going to come home and quarantine for no 14 days. Right? And you can't risk putting none of them on our streets coming off on no ship. And no ship coming to St. Kitts. And so, you know what's going to happen? It means that we are going to be in a little bit of hardship for a while longer. You see, what I personally believe that you could have created an environment, and you probably still could, created an environment where you opened up the country internally. You take too long to do that. And so you had to postpone Culturama, which is a big economic activity. And it looks like you are going to be forced to postpone Carnival, which is an even bigger economic activity. But if I were to advise you, I would tell you is keep the country locked to outside persons, to overseas people. Ensure that the virus isn't coming in, all right? And then have Carnival amongst the persons who are resident in the country. You can't spread what you ain't got. And so if no cases are in St. Kitts and you don't let anybody in, then you could jump up and dance up and prance up and do whatever you want amongst yourself. Because if the virus isn't there, you can't spread it. Anguilla had the jump up. And I ain't hear nothing about no community spread after Anguilla had the jump up. And so I'm thinking you could. And I'm proposing that you should have a local carnival. Because it is still going to be a significant cultural and economic event. So if I were you, I would hold out even longer until after Carnival. In other words, I would open St. Kitts after Carnival. Because other than that, other than Carnival, like the people that must say now, nothing a Cape. Nothing a Cape, you know. And if you open the country, but you forego Carnival, still nothing a Cape, and you wouldn't have the benefit of that economic activity in the country. I'm saying, if I were to advise you, that is what I would say. You might feel badly because you don't force Culturama to shut down. And I consider that to be an unnecessary shutdown. Because once you had the virus licked, once there was no virus in St. Kitts, it followed that the only way virus could come into St. Kitts is if it was imported. And so if you stop import people, leave them out of St. Kitts, then there was no risk or no possibility of the virus coming home. But you see, what start wrong to end wrong? Because all around election time, you had people coming into St. Kitts. There were people who came in from overseas. I know some of them. When you were saying the country closed down, people were coming in that were friendly to the government. Some of them came in to vote. But you see, that is what's going to happen when you curry favor, when you play favorite. So I await to see what is going to happen. I don't know how you're gonna manage this opening of the borders. All I would like to remind you of is this simple fact, that what we have is a pandemic. And a pandemic spreads exponentially. Right? And it means that one or two persons who are infected could easily infect 10, 15 people. And them 10, 15 people could easily affect 4 or 5 persons each. And you see how it grows exponentially? And if you close down the country because you have 4 or 5 cases, what's going to happen if you got 20 cases? You're going to put on a dead board. And the second time around going to be worse than the first time. Because the first time you shut down, you know, you had some reserves. You had things that would take you through. Second time around, you're operating on fumes. It's going to be harder. It's going to be more difficult. And it means that the hotels are going to be closed longer. means that restaurants are going to be closed longer. Means that the economy is going to come to a halt again. And all that is saying is that it's going to take a longer time for the country to recover. I don't know. They had say one smart had outsmarted too smart. You may have outsmarted yourself in some of the actions you took early because they were not actions that were genuine. Some were necessary, but you did some things just so that you could get back in power. That may just come back to bite you up the wazoo. I'm going to pause here and then we're going to come back and chit-chat a little bit more.
I love being in the latest style and dress fine, or should I say classy. That is why I shop at First Class next to the taxi stand at Port Sante for fine gold and silver jewelry in precious, semi-precious and colored stones, diamond and crystal watches, and the hottest handbags and wallets. And when I want to buy a gift for someone, that's easy too. I just ask them to make me a gift basket, and First Class has the best prices at Port Sante. So no matter what the occasion, come on into First Class and leave happy, knowing you've gotten the best deal for your money. It's First Class at Port Sante, where quality, low prices, and top-notch service are second to none.
Spread the word. New and exclusive every Sunday from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's the Gospel Cafe with Carl B. Springate on KYSS FM 102.5. Tune in and connect with the Holy Ghost Connection with live interviews, Christian news, what's hot and what's not in the now. Birthdays and anniversary shout-outs available, Bible Jeopardy, Beyond the Pulpit, and positive entertainment and ministry. Testimonies and the pastor's moment with Spread the Word. So tune in as we drop the latest gospel hits, 100% black. It's the Carl D. Springate Gospel Cafe, Sundays from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KYSSFMonline.com and 102.5 FM. And be blessed like that.
One fashion accessories for really low prices. Check silver and cents. Check silver and cents. Beauty supplies and weave, genuine fragrances. Check silver and cents. Check silver and cents. Handbags so beautiful, your friends will envy how you look. With perfume to smell just right, you'll feel like you're in paradise. Watches, silver jewelry, and hair accessories. Check silver and cents in the Amri Mall on Deon Street.
Ready or not, hear my clothes, can't hide. Gonna find you and make you want me.
Ain't nobody tell me nothing. Trying to tell me nothing.
I'm Shaniel Francis. Kyssfm 102.5 is proud to announce its brand new morning show, Backchat, the only place to hear the hottest music.
I'm local.
Check me area code, me area code. Anywhere me go, you know me touch the
To international,
Ay, I go shopping, want it then I cop it. Ay, yeah, bitches popping, I do what they copy.
And have you informed with a range of topics.
Tell me nothing.
so on Mondays to Fridays, tune in at 8 to 11.
Tell me nothing.
You won't want to miss the vibes on
Backchat.
Ready or not, hear my clothes.
I wanna fly high up to the sky. I'm living in the mountains. Everybody knows the soil so fertile. If a man sit down naked, the seeds might grow. A delightful getaway from the hustle, bustle and tricks. Oh, what a natural fix if you don't like to mix with the politics. One issue I have to resolve. If I could sort it out, all problems solved. Every time I plant corn and it start to shoot, some idiot keep forking it out the root. Make country flowers in it. Make country producing it. Country start to blossom. I don't know who or where they come from. Me blind neighbor say he saw a man resembling one of the politicians. I wasn't there, so I didn't see exactly who talking up me country.
Welcome back to the Rebuttal. I'm Douglas Wattley, your host. Here's a question. How is the St. Kitts Nevis economy doing? That's a question I would like to have answered. I mean, I don't think it's fair. It has never been smart, and I don't think it's fair for the government to keep the data to itself. We have had a government that has indicated or required the IMF not to share economic data with its citizens. I think a lot of that is continuing. And so those of us who study the economy, who would like to know what is happening, we have absolutely no idea how the economy is doing, especially in a time like this. Now, consider this. Since the days of the Labour Party, it started a series of discussions. It has a national consultation on the economy as a means of telling the country what the situation is regarding the economy. And then it engages a number of stakeholders in discussions geared towards informing the government before it creates its annual budget. I agree with the event. I think that is an event that we must have. I don't think that we have ever taken it as seriously as we should. I don't think we have used it the way we could use it to inform not just the budgetary process, but to inform the development of the country in general. And so I would like to see it firm up and made a more permanent part of the way we do business in St. Kitts and Nevis insofar as planning the country's economy. Now, I am hearing that this year that event may be scrapped. You don't need less consultation at this point in time. You need more consultation. And I think it's a slap in the face if the country does not have the national consultation on the economy. And you cannot use COVID as an excuse. No damn COVID in the country. And even if you use COVID as an excuse, you have all these technology right now that you could use. You could do it by Zoom, whatever you wish. But now is not the time for us not to discuss the state of the economy. And it's exactly that, The government does not want to have to share information with the people regarding the state of the economy. The government does not want to let you know what the true status quo is, what the true existing situation is regarding the economy. And so what it is doing, it is talking about scrapping the national consultation on the economy. I think that that's an unfortunate thing to do, and I'm hoping that the government reconsiders, because look at it, we are at the end of September. My understanding is that we don't even have the discussions on the estimates yet. And remember, a budget is normally due around the first week of December. And we are already in October, so to speak. And so I think that we need more ventilation on the state of the economy, not less. And I would be disappointed if that is what is likely to happen. You need ideas. You need ideas from stakeholders, ideas from people who know how to build an economy and how to make an economy. You need to hear from your stakeholders the particular situation they find themselves in. So you have to have a forum that gives them the opportunity to speak to the government. You know, people's purchasing power has been damaged. And so consumption is not what it used to be. And if consumption is down, then the economy is down seriously. Because most of what drives the economy is consumption. Personal consumption and governmental consumption. We have to be honest. Where are we right now insofar as income generation is concerned? Because you need income not just to run the public service, and you need a lot of income to run the public service, but you need income to invest in the economy. Because remember, consumption is broken down into personal consumption and government consumption. So if the government were to ever start building the Bastia High School, these are the kind of times when they should do that. And they should make sure that the workforce is from St. Kitts, so that the money stays in St. Kitts. Look at what is happening down in Old Road. The Old Road Bay, I'm told, is something like 60% completed. Now that's a scandal in and of itself, because at this point in time, the Old Road Bay should have already been completed a couple of months ago. And to tell me that it is now 60% increase means it's bleeding money. Time is money. And so for every time overrun you have, you're going to have cost overrun. But what seems to be the problem is that the government, who is the chief financier of that project, I suspect, or the government would be the one who must put in whatever money is needed to complete that project. And it would appear that the government is finding it difficult to come up with the money to either speed up that project or complete the project. And the longer you wait, the more money it's going to take for you to complete that project. I don't know what is happening over at the port, that second pier. It doesn't appear to me, and I have not heard, that any work has been done to rectify or remedy the problem that they have encountered with that pier. Which means that you are paying, and I know you're going to say, well, no ship's coming anyway, but you are paying for something that you didn't plan. You had cost overruns on a project that is not completed and appears not completable, if that's a word. It's going to take you some time to remedy that problem. So even when you open up the country You are not going to have a situation where the ships that you built that second pier to accommodate, they're not going to be coming. When are we going to recognize that this government is incompetent? They are popular because they find themselves on Facebook, they find themselves on TV, they find themselves in church, and they have all kind of rituals that keep them in the public domain. But they are a bunch of incompetent individuals. And so none of the projects that they have undertaken came in within the constraints of time, cost, or quality. This is bleeding the country's treasury at a time when we don't have funds to put in it. Meanwhile, we have cut back on the amount of money we are giving to farmers. You say you want farmers to pick up the slack, but farmers ain't getting no help. Farmers ain't getting the kind of money you promised them. How you expect they're gonna pick up the slack? Huh? You have to revisit the way the economy is structured. And you have to revisit where you are putting the money in the economy. Because for the time being, you are going to be an economy that is dependent on its internal operations, not external. And you have to redesign the economy to function in a new way. That is why you needed the consultation. In fact, you needed several consultations. You need your best and your brightest to come together, to redesign, restructure, and reoperationalize the economy. And I don't think you have done that. And you have to recognize that but for the sale of passports, we would be up a creek without a paddle. And you cannot depend on those kind of things. A government has to be more sustainable than that. And so I say, have the national consultation, have several more consultations. I don't think you should stop. I think you should let the people know the true state of the affairs of the country. Sure, you're going to get views because we think that you cover up on certain things. And so when I hear the fact, I'm going to tell you, well, you were lying before or something. But that didn't matter. Let me talk. But you do the right thing. On that note, I'm going to pause and then we'll come back and continue with the program.
I love being in the latest style and dress fine, or should I say classy. That is why I shop at First Class next to the taxi stand at Port Sante for fine gold and silver jewelry in precious, semi-precious and colored stones, diamonds and crystal watches, and the hottest handbags and wallets. And when I want to buy a gift for someone, that's easy too. I just ask them to make me a gift basket, and First Class has the best prices at Port Sante. So no matter what the occasion, come on into First Class and leave happy, knowing you've gotten the best deal for your money. It's First Class at Port Sante, where quality, low prices, and top-notch service are second to none.
Spread the word. New and exclusive every Sunday from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's the Gospel Cafe with Carl B. Springate on KYSS FM 102.5. Tune in and connect with the Holy Ghost Connection with live interviews, Christian news, what's hot and what's not in the now. Birthdays and anniversary shout-outs available, Bible Jeopardy, Beyond the Pulpit, and positive entertainment and ministry. Testimonies and the pastor's moment with Spread the Word. So tune in as we drop the latest gospel hits, 100% flat. It's the Carl D. Springate Gospel Cafe, Sundays from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KYSSFMonline.com and 102.5 FM. And be blessed like that.
One fashion accessories for really low prices. Check silver and cents. Check silver and cents. beauty supplies and weave, genuine fragrances, check silver and cents, check silver and cents. Handbags so beautiful, your friends will envy how you look. With perfume, to smell just right, you'll feel like you're in paradise. Watches, silver jewelry, and hair accessories, check silver and cents in the Amri Mall on Day Street.
Ready or not, you're my clothes, you can't hide. Gonna find you and make you want me.
Ain't nobody tell me nothing. Can't tell me nothing.
I'm Shaniel Francis. Kiss FM 102.5 is proud to announce its brand new morning show, Backchat, the only place to hear the hottest music.
From local
Check me area code, direct me area code. Anywhere me go, you know me touch the
To international,
Ay, I go shopping, want it then I cop it. Ay, yeah, bitches popping, I do what they copy.
and have you informed with a range of topics.
Tell me nothing.
so on Mondays to Fridays, tune in at 8 to 11.
Tell me nothing.
You won't want to miss the vibes on
Backchat.
Ready or not, you're my clothes.
I wanna fly high up to the sky. I'm living in the mountains. Everybody knows the soil so fertile. If a man sit down naked, the seeds might grow. A delightful getaway from the hustle, bustle and tricks. Oh, what a natural fix if you don't like to mix with the politics. One issue I have to resolve. If I could sort it out, all problems solved. Every time I plant corn and it start to shoot, some idiot keep talking it out the root. Make country flowers in it, park it up. Make country producing it, park it up. Country start to blossom. I don't know who or where they come from. Me blind neighbor say he saw a man resembling one of the politicians. I wasn't there, so I didn't see exactly who talking up me country.
Welcome back to the Rebuttal. I'm Douglas Wattley. Look like I'm going over the 1 hour mark this evening. So, they say that the government made an offer to the guys receiving payment for keeping the peace to accept either the pay for peace money or step, not both. Because you're aware that several have been getting pay for peace and still step money. In fact, there are people I understand in St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands, who get in PAP. You understand? And some people down there even get in step. And so, you see, in time of enough or plenty, you're wasteful. What Douglas did, you know, it's funny. Because I was Douglas' biggest critic, you know. All when me in government, you know. You understand? Me and Douglas never used to see eye to eye, you know. You understand? And the fact is, he used to do some nonsense. Me and you ain't gonna fall out if you're not do nonsense. You do good, me and you cool. But while it is true that Douglas ran up the debt, he also brought it back down, you know. When he realized the error of his ways, he brought it back down. Not only did he bring it down, he put money into the reserve. When Douglas left office, the reserve was about $637 million. You understand? That is the reserve that the present government is using to stay afloat. That is the reserve. That is our lifeline right now. You know, we got bamboozled because this present government has not done anything to advance the country beyond where it was in 2015. In fact, we have retrogressed, and it has nothing to do with COVID. We had been retrogressing for a while over the 5 years that this government was in power. But look what happened. You voted them back in. As if to suggest they were doing such a good job, you vote them back in. Sure, you're going to say, boy, they pay me for my vote. But you don't have to accept it, and you don't have to vote for them. So that ain't really going to cut it. We are about ready to have a next wave with respect to COVID-19, which means the country would justifiably have to remain practically shut down to the outside world. And so it means that we are going to suffer continued hardship. It means that the government would continue having to dip into the reserve. And they better dip slightly. Because depending on how deep and big you dip, the reserve gone done. And when the reserve done, you ain't gonna got much. Because like I tell you all, you know, the day them people stop buying with passport, we dead. Deader than dead. The passport, in my mind, was supposed to be a stopback gap back in the day when we entered the first recession. And I thought that it did its job. I'm not a big fan of sales of passport. But it's the passport that was augmented by the former government. That is what is keeping us afloat right now. You know, somebody told me today that they heard that the payment for peace is now coming out of the Provident Fund money that was left over, wasn't collected, that is kept at Social Security. I understand they're telling me that the $25 million that they said they spent on the stimulus package came out of that fund. I'm told that the fund had in something like $27 million. So which means that is $0. I don't know if there is any legal reasons why that fund should not be spent. I don't know. And I don't know if there's a statute of limitation beyond which you could spend the money. I don't know. But I understand that is the money from the so-called Provident Fund that has been used. It means that the government is using every little bit of money from every corner that it could find, right, to keep things afloat. But the funny thing with money is, as money is coming out, if none coming in, it gone done. It gone done. Somebody asked me today what I think, because they were having a conversation, and the conversation was that the government has a year and a half before it broke down, before it fall down. And they asked me what I thought. And basically I said, I think you all got it just about right. I was thinking the same thing too. I gave them 3 months before they started to get unpopular. We are just over the 3 months. I don't know, but it seems to me that the only thing that they're doing right now is make sure they show up to everything. One thing about them, they're good on publicity. And so any pan they want to show their face as being part of it. They're in church. You know, I nearly gonna say something about church, you know. But I think enough people dislike me tonight, so me nah go incur the wrath of the church people. You understand? Not incur the wrath of the church people. But every minute these ministers of government go on church. For what? To upset the Lord? You know, we very selective, you know. When one set of people do, the church come out and the church views. When another set of people do, all that happen, they just got to show up in the church. And they just got to make contributions to the church and the church affairs, right? And you keep quiet. I was reading today where someone that I follow on Facebook said that we should teach the youngsters who are just about coming out of school with all the subjects. We should teach them morals, ethics, and good manners. That ship they done sail, you know? That ship they done sail. Because it's these same people who vote in Lindsey Grant, you know? And John L. Powell, you know? And gave John L. Powell education, you know? So which education you expect them to dispense? Who can run that educational system there? The people who are amoral, the people who are unethical. Not that we are suspecting them, you know. Not that we are making up anything on them, you know. You got proof that they are such, and you went out and you vote them in. So why you ball for now? Eh? You tell me why you ball for now. The kids that are going to be the kids that you produced. Because when you say so, but you ain't do so, they're going to learn from what they see, not what they hear. You understand? I can't come tell them not chopping this now. I wish that the kids would be morally grounded. I wish they would have good ethics. But then I learned it from Ayo. They don't see how sometimes we are. They don't see that in the one instance we say, boy, it was wrong when Dougie did this. But it's okay now because I support team unity. It's okay if it happened now. Damn foolishness. We gonna got to take the ass whooping that is coming to us. Because some of us deserve it. Some of us deserve it. You understand? Did I mention anything about the layoffs that are expected at Jaro? I understand that Jaro is letting off 150 workers. And I like Jaro, no? Jaro is a nice place. I like the people at Jaro. And so my heart would go out to those who would suffer if they lose their job. Boy, I'm hoping it's wrong. But I got it from kind of solid ground today that Jaro would be letting off about 150. And remember, Marriott is probably going to terminate somewhere in the region of 400, eh? That ain't good, you know. It ain't good to have all them people who used to work in your society now not working. That's a great loss. You understand? And so the government has to use its best advisors to come up with ways to weather the storm. I am hoping that this is not a new normal where all these people would not re-enter the workforce. If that be the case, I could promise you, St. Kitts will not be what we remembered it in recent time. Right? So, those of you who pray, pray. Those who do whatever else, do whatever else, because it ain't gonna be pretty. Not only is it not gonna be pretty, right? A lot of the mistakes that we have made over the last 5 years gonna come back to bite us up the yin yang. It's gonna come back and bite us up the yin yang. And I want to tell you something, Next week I'm gonna talk to you about something, because we're gonna lose the country, Oh yeah, we're gonna lose the country. I'm gonna show you a scenario where we're gonna lose our country to China. You say, but Wattley, what you talk? You always talk some nonsense. I know they talk some stupidness sometimes. But if you don't mind, Miss Stupidness don't make sense. Miss Stupidness don't make sense. That didn't make sense. That Miss Stupidness don't make sense. Miss Stupidness don't make sense, man. I'm watching eye with a cockeye. Because this passport thing is going to cause us to lose our country in the next 20 to 50 years. I'm not going to be around. But you will remember what I say. You will remember what I say. By the way, is tonight or tomorrow night is the big election over in constituency number 1, where those who support Patches gonna go up against those who support the quote-unquote legitimate PAM supporters. That is an important election you all need to pay attention to, because that election there is going to decide or determine who the next leader of PAM will be. Yes. Pay attention to it. And oh, by the way, before I go, I noticed my friend Mark in Nevis already start indicating that he's going to cut overtime and a couple other things. And I think that's a smart thing. But make sure you don't cut overtime just across the board like that, There's some people you can cut the overtime. Well, I don't know, like electricity. You can't just... Is electricity under government in Nevis? Maybe not. But there are certain essential services that you just can't cut the overtime. You understand? So don't just cut willy-nilly. Make sure you study it. And make sure you cut who can and should be cut. But you can't just cut everybody across the board. So be careful with that. You may very well need to move to cutting allowances in a little bit, because you're going to need the operating space. You're going to need the fiscal space to operate, right? Because things are not going to tomorrow get better. And you know that, right? I don't know that you're going to continue to get that $3.7 million from the federal government. And I don't even know if that's what you should be getting. Maybe you should be getting more, right? So I hope the best for you all, because money coming out. And you know what's going to end up happening? To keep the government running. Because a lot of people don't understand, the economy and the government are not The same thing, you know. What it takes to keep an economy buoyant is not necessarily the same as what it takes to keep a government going. If a government is bloated, the government is going to need money to run a bloated government. And the way government make money is to take money out of the private sector and take money out of private people's hand by way of taxes and fees and so forth. And so government is a taker. They mean the same thing. So the government, in order to stay afloat, is probably going to end up taxing you to pay for a bloated government. If you streamline the government, and this is not a popular idea, if you streamline the government, it takes less to run the government. If you streamline the government, it takes less to run the government. If it takes less to run the government, it means the government can afford not to tax you as heavily as it has been. So right now, government should be trying to figure out how it could streamline its operations. It probably gonna try to figure out how it could send home some people and not fill those vacancies, which means it would become more productive and or more efficient without affecting its effectiveness, right? All of them things the government's supposed to be paying attention to right now. There is a lot of waste in government. Me not ask you, me tell you. There is a lot of waste in government. But government don't really bother to look at that. What government should be doing about now is to set up an efficiency task force, right? To look at government operations and make sure it cut out a lot of the slack. Make sure it streamline the government as best as possible before sending home anybody, right? Cut out a lot of the waste, right? So you could save some money. Because you have to do that before you start letting off people. The funny thing is, a lot of the slack in government is a bloated government insofar as employment is concerned. So you're going to say, oh, Wattley saying you need to send home people from the government. Well, I don't tell you earlier how to try and do that. I mean, I hide that, retire people who are supposed to be retired. I mean hide when me say that, but I know someone ain't gonna like it. Right? So before you cut people who are supposed to be working and who need to be working because of the age and the responsibilities, slim down by way of attrition first. That's all I'm saying. Slim down by way of attrition first. And slim down by streamlining your operations. Streamline your operations. Become more efficient. Right? That is all I'm saying. Anyway, I ain't gonna stop here and talk with all you no more. I think I don't get in trouble enough for tonight. What is this I heard about some rape up in constituency 1? I see somebody talking about rape. Somebody get raped up in constituency 1 and how the candidate is very silent about it. The main things to play with, Why anybody want to come, why any grown man want to come meddle in the 15-year-old for? You understand? I ain't gonna say nothing else. On that note, I'm gonna leave you all this evening. You all have a good evening. Take care. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
know the crime and the permissiveness in the society. Hey, you give me TV, you give me cable, you also give me pornography. You give me drugs, you give me guns, you also give me a modern telephonic connection. Plus you bloody well know where there are progressive tendencies, there rises in criminal activity. There rises in criminal activity. Helicopter over the area. What are you calling for? Why is it as soon as the crime done, the police hurry come? What are you calling for? You see, nobody concentrates on preventative measures. Nobody gives a damn about the very roots of the problem. What are you calling for? For what are you about? I saw mother walking there tonight. Yes, man. Hey! Hey! You educate me in school. You inflicted that golden rule. You made sure I didn't become a fool. You gave me ideas. You gave me hope. You gave me reasons to regard you as a role model. I followed your leadership. I followed your example. But now the both of us end up in trouble. Helicopter over the entire area. What are you calling for? Why is it as soon as the explosion, the police hurry come? What are you calling for? Nobody concentrates on the preventative measures. Nobody gives a damn about the very root of the problem. What all are you in here calling for? For all you are born. I wouldn't fall. Oh, I saw. I just don't want to be critical without offering a couple of solutions. Start anti-drug classes, build rehabilitation centers, and cable ought to be careful round the turn. And the police should manifest a true symbol of honest impartiality. And the same police ought to share more information with the press and the rest of the community. For in the final analysis, it's we, the same people, they're coming for help with the investigative inquiry. What are you One more time. Blah, blah. All right. Thank you. Hey! You educate me in school. You inflicted that golden rule. You made sure the black did not become a fool. I followed your leadership. I followed your example. I made sure I regarded you as a role model. You gave me hope. You gave ideas. You also gave me reasons to regard you as a role model. And now, today, look, they know both of us end up in trouble. Scotland Yard, all over Sadler's area. Bradshaw, what? You ballin' far. Why is it as soon as the crime done, them police hurry come? What are you ballin' for? You see, nobody concentrates on preventative measures. Nobody gives a damn about the roots of the